I'm going to show you the process now for adding assessments to the system. First of all, we're going to click on the assessments item in the menu, and we'll be taken to the assessments area, and we can see the list of assessments we've entered to date. I want to add a new assessment, so I'm going to click on the new assessment button in the top right, and I'll be taken to the new assessment page. Now it's a quick and simple and intuitive process. First of all, we choose the learner we're entering this assessment for. There we are, let's choose, there we go, Deanstone. Then we choose the date that this assessment occurred. Let's just go to yesterday. Now below the learner's name and date are a series of sliders, and this is how we enter the levels for each aspect in the assessment. As we move a slider along, we can see two things change. The first thing that changes is the level number and confidence level for this aspect. So we can see it moves from 1 emerging to 1 developing to 1 secure, and we've got the level 1 descriptor underneath here. As I move the slider along up to level 2, we can see that the descriptor underneath changes to the level 2 descriptor, to 2 developing, 2 secure, over to 3, and we can see that the level 3 descriptor has now been placed at the bottom there, and over to 4, and finally to 5. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to set some random levels so I can show you how this report will look. Now this works well, the sliders work really well, both on the desktop as I'm using at the moment, but also on tablets and phones and touchscreen devices. The final thing we can do, and this is entirely optional, at the bottom is a comments box. I'm just going to enter some text into there, a comment about this assessment, just to show you where that appears on the report. Now this is the place for you to enter any comments or any information about factors that may have affected your judgment for the assessment, or any information about incidents that might have occurred during the assessment that would maybe influence the results or the evaluation you gave to the learner for any aspects. Once I'm happy with that, or I am happy with that, I'm going to click on the Submit Assessment button at the bottom. That gets added to the system and the report's generated for us. So we can see here the assessment date, the learner's name and their date of birth. The system's calculated the date at the time of the assessment for us, and underneath we can see the comment we entered about the assessment. Now, the first chart we can see is the overview for the assessment, and this just gives us an immediate idea of which areas are stronger and which are weaker. So we can see confidence was much stronger for this learner as opposed to well-being and general mood. The colour is also an indication as well. For learners or for assessments where the scores were lower, the colour will go from red, and when they're mid-range, to amber to orange, and for high ranking or high scored assessments up to green. Now you'll see this below in the bar chart. As I scroll down we can see the aspect profile, and we've got a bar chart showing the scores for each aspect, and again this is colour coded, so we can see we've got a low score here for general mood, so that's a deep orange close red colour, and then confidence and engagement were high scoring aspects along with self-awareness and social skills, so they're green, and then the mid scoring aspects in between are a yellow colour. So again, that gives you an immediate visual clue as to which aspects you need to be working on with this learner to support them to develop. Below the bar chart, we've got the aspect levels, and it simply lists for you the score you gave the learner and the descriptor for that level. Scrolling down to the bottom, finally we can see the targets that have been generated for this learner. Now these are picked on general mood, self-regulation and well-being will have been the lowest scoring aspects in this assessment. So the system's picked those, and it's generated some suggested targets that you can use if you're working on IEPs or learners with education healthcare plans, or any other kind of behaviour or learning plan that you need to set and review targets for. It lists some targets there that may be helpful in that process. Okay, scrolling right to the top again, we can see we've got a download button here, and an edit button here, and a delete button here. If we decide we no longer need this assessment, we can simply click on the delete button. You get a confirmation dialog because once you've deleted the assessment, it's impossible to recover it. So do be sure you don't need it before you click on that delete button. I'm just going to close that and keep that for a moment. Clicking on the edit button will allow us to edit the assessment details we've entered if we got something wrong or we want to tweak something. So I'm going to go, let's change confidence, let's put that right up there, and then I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to click on update assessment. Now Now if I scroll down on the report, here we are, we can see straight away on the graph, on the radar chart, on the overview, and on the breakdown, and on the aspect levels, that's been amended for us. So it's easy to go back in and edit assessments if we made a mistake or we need to. Finally, we've got the download button. I'm going to click on it there. This will generate for us and either display on my screen or download to your device a PDF report of the assessment data there. Here we are, it's loaded now, so we can see we've got the learner's details, we've got the groups that they belong to, we've got the overview chart of the assessment, again colour coded, we've got the breakdown of each aspect level in a bar chart, again that's colour coded, we've got the levels and the level descriptors, and finally we've got any comments we made about the assessment entered there, and we've got the targets listed that were suggested for the learner.